What's up, everyone? All right, so welcome back from the long Labor Day weekend. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Got a little rest, and hopefully you guys did too. So here we are, first trading day of September. One trade, one winner, $2,700 of profit. A little bit more than the daily goal, and that's a great way to start the new month. Now, if we look back at my calendar for the month of August, my first day was only $47 of profit. And then the next day, which was Friday, August 2nd, I didn't take any trades because nothing looked good. I didn't trade again, well, on Monday, the 5th, and then we had the 6th, a red day, 7th, a red day, and the 8th, a red day. So it was a terrible start to the month. So just starting here with a green day starts to build a little bit of a cushion. And, you know, it's not a big cushion. I've still got to be careful tomorrow. And also be mindful that today we didn't see the level of follow through I would like. During the recap, we'll talk about LTCK, which I traded this morning. And then during the recap, squeezed up and got halted on a circuit breaker at $7. It then resumed below at $6.60 and ended up fading. But we were watching it live and we kind of broke it down. So enjoy that during the recap. And as always, questions, comments, leave them below. And today we have extended our Labor Day sales. They expired at midnight. We've pushed that back to midnight tonight. So jump over to the website, use the coupon code Labor Day to save 30% store-wide at Warrior Trading. All right, see you guys in the chat room. All right, everyone, so I'm going to finish the first trading day of September up $2,779 and $78.99. So not a bad start to the month. One trade, one winner, and just a little over the $2,000 daily goal. Today is the 165th trading day of 2019. So we are... well, certainly coming to the last push, the last 4 months. And I hope that we see some really good opportunities here as we close up 2019, especially in November and December. But starting the first day of the month with a green trade is always nice. It doesn't always happen. And I'm sure some of you guys who trade today, whether it's real money or in the sim, may not be in the green, and I started August in the red, so I certainly know, both sides of the coin. I've been in both places, and I think for me, today I set a little bit of a different goal. So let's kind of go through how today unfolded. All right, and I hope you guys all enjoyed the weekend and got some rest, and those of you guys who took us up on our Labor Day sales, I'm glad that you did that. I'm going to pause this here, or mute it at least. I'll just go like that. All right, so leading gapper this morning was CDTX. Now, this one I really wasn't particularly interested in. It's a stock that I have traded in the past, quite a while ago at this point. It really hasn't been a very interesting stock in quite a while. So with it gapping up today 70%, I was impressed. That's a huge gap. That's a really big move. And yet, I didn't really think it had a lot more in it. So we had the high here of 318 pre-market. By the time the bell was about to ring, it had broken below 3, below the VWAP, the volume weighted average price. And then it curled back up, and so we opened today at $3. It immediately surged up. It hit a high of about 308, dipped down, surged back up to 309, dipped down, came back up to 305, and then sold off from there. I didn't take any trades on it. So this stock, it meets my criteria for price. It certainly meets the criteria for gap. It clearly has news. However, the float's 25 million shares. And I typically focus on under 10 because those are stocks that are more volatile during trading hours. And the volume was already 2.15 million shares, which is a little high. I like to see above average volume, but when you get to a place where you're above 1 million shares pre-market and you have a 25 million share float, I usually look at those types of stocks as having a lot of tension, a bit of a tug of war, and it's more difficult to see really big breakouts. So it's kind of harder to get nice 20, 30-cent moves on these types of stocks. So, you know, in terms of weighting the criteria of an A quality setup, I would definitely weight float as one of the highest because, you know, even if you have everything else that matches up, even the volume, the float can just be a deal breaker. So that was off the list. ABEO for me, I wasn't interested in it. Now, it did end up making a nice move from $2 up to about $2.78. Nice, clean pullbacks. It's a stock that's been beaten up for a while, as you can see. It did have a catalyst today of news. And, you know, this one did end up working out a little bit better than I suppose I expected. But I left it alone with the float being on the higher side. ARDX, float's too high. This one, price is a little high, volume's a little low. This one, volume's too low, it doesn't have a float. This one's too expensive, this one's a little too expensive. So you can see as we're going down the list, the first one here that you might look at would be USOD. However, this is United States short oil fund, so I'm not going to trade that. So basically, there was nothing on the list for a gap and go trade. So we talk about the gap and go strategy as part of the Warrior Pro courses. It's a strategy of looking for the leading gapper and trying to ride that momentum. But I have to be very specific about which stocks I'm willing to apply that strategy to and which ones I'm just going to sit on the sidelines. And these were all ones that I was not interested in. All right, so the bell rings and we come in pretty much with the mindset of watching the high day momentum scanner. Now, I will say that ELTK was the first stock I looked at this morning because it was the last stock I was looking at on Friday. On Friday, it made this move from 450 up to 5, 550, 6, 650, all the way up to a high of 720. And I kept seeing it hitting the scanner Friday afternoon, and I was impressed. And I was feeling a little FOMO, and I was just like, wow, man, this thing is really taking off. So, and it is a former runner, a stock that I had traded in the past. So to see that move on Friday was impressive. So it was the first one I was watching, or it was the first one that I looked at earlier this morning, but that was at like, I don't know, maybe 8:45 or 9 o'clock. And so by the time I was doing my watch list, I'd kind of forgotten about it. I wasn't really thinking about it. I think I might have had it up on my level 2 from Friday. So I might have had it up here at one point. So, I was kind of like interested, but sort of looked away and was focusing on other things. The bell rings, and this ends up squeezing up right here. The high of the day was 23. It squeezes up, it hits the scanner. Oops, sorry, let's see, we'll use the scanner. So it hits the scanner at 25, and then 57, 69, 69, 75. So it's boom, 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 hitting the scanner. As soon as it hit the scanner right here, I was like, whoa, ELTK, yes, this was the stock that I was looking at earlier. It's doing, someone even mentioned in the chat room, hey, check it out for red to green move. So I think I pulled it up just before it did the red to green move, and shift one, shift one, shift one, shift one, I'm pressing my hotkey to buy. Now, ZVZZT, this is the NASDAQ test stock. So this is what happens when I press shift one. Boom, just like that, just like that, just like that, just like that. I'm in 12,000 shares. And that's what I did on the LTK. Boom, 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 boom. In 12,000 shares, adding as it's squeezing up. So I take my starter and then I'm adding, adding, adding. Hits a high of 85. Now on this one, I was thinking this is the first stock that's hitting the scanner today. It looks good. So I was thinking this thing might rip up to 7. And then if we can break 720, we're breaking the highs from Friday. So I was starting to get a little excited that this might be a really nice trade. It rips up here, hits a high of 85. It then pulls back right here. It then drops down to 25, which is not good. It bounces back up to 62, and I'm selling through here on this bounce. I'm hopeful that I can hold my last position for a 1-minute micro pullback and a retest of the high, and I would have been okay with adding if it had done that. But then as it broke here, the low of, let's say actually no, then it dropped down to 13. I was still holding about 700 shares through the bottom of this pullback. And then I finally sold the rest of it right here. So I was really disappointed that what could have been an awesome trade, a breakthrough, $7 and potentially a 50-cent plus winner on 12,000 shares, ended up only being about 20 cents. So I'll sell this ZZT test stock, so all out now. And that is a test stock, so it's not going to contribute to my daily gains, or loss, which is good. But yeah, overall, disappointing that this didn't work out super well. So then the next trade, BLRX, it hits the scanner, and I was like, I don't know, because ELTK kind of failed. And now this one, so it hits the scanner at 325, 340. And if I had jumped in it right away, well, it did end up hitting a high of 64. So a 35-cent breakout, it's not bad at all. But this did not hold that level. It then comes back down. And as you can see now, it's back down at 230. So a big rejection there. And I think, so at that point, I was like, now that's two. ELTK rejecting, BLRX rejecting. I better step back here. And then when I saw ABEO going a little higher, I just thought, no, I don't know. I better not risk it. I'm just going to leave it alone. And I don't think anything else has hit the scanners. NETE and OSN, I guess, hit for a second. OSN did a little red to green move, but it hasn't sustained very well. NETE is a little bit of a daily setup over 520, but that one's also not looking particularly impressive. And this ARDX is a higher float stock, 55 million shares. I'm not really sure. I wasn't really watching this one, so that one looks like it just all of a sudden kind of ripped here from 4 up to 460, which is a nice breakout, but I think I'll just leave it alone. So one trade today, one winner, and I'm just gonna leave it at that and live to trade another day. Be back at it tomorrow. Hope that we see a little bit more follow through, but also, we'll be okay with taking it a little bit slow. Someone asked me earlier in the room, how I gauge when on a trade like ELTK, will go ahead and take my profit versus hold the whole thing for that big move up to 7. And for me, I didn't feel comfortable. Now, ELTK, I took a pretty big position. If I'd only taken maybe 3,000 shares or 6,000, or maybe even 9,000, I might have held a little longer because I would have thought, well, I'll give it a chance. Because I went with bigger size, I felt like I needed to reduce the risk a little faster because there's more risk with bigger positions. So that might have been part of it there. But a bigger part was the fact that at the beginning of the month, I don't have a cushion on the month. I'm at 0. And even though, I could certainly say, well, I've already done really great on the year, for the rest of the year, I'm only going to swing for home runs. So, I'll probably get a few and they'll end up being $25,000, $35,000 winners. And there'll be trades like this that end up being either break even or small losses because I just, I just throw in the towel or whatever. I just let it stop me out flat rather than take the profit. But I really trade on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis. I'm looking at my P&L each day, each month, and it feels like, we're at the beginning of a new month, so I'm starting over from scratch, and I'm going to focus on just trying to be green here for the month of September. So that, I think, is the way most beginner traders trade as well. It's just sort of this focus on month to month paying bills. And it doesn't, you might be up on the year, but it doesn't change the fact that you've got bills you've got to pay this month. And so you've got to continue to be consistent. Man, this thing, look at that. That's funny. So you've got a high of 685. So what we're going to kind of have here is a potential double top at 685. So this is a cup shape. And what we typically would look for would be a handle. A handle will take the form of a bull flag underneath high of day. If I bought right here at 85, my stop is like back down here at 6. That's too far away. I can't really set my stop that far away. It just wouldn't make sense for a risk-reward perspective. Now, in this case, you may have traders that get squeezed out here who are holding it short. And now it's back on the high day momentum scanners. You see right there. It just hit new high, but only by 1 cent. And buying up here, I really think the only people that would press the buy button would be a short seller covering. I'm not sure that you would really have a lot of people going into this as a fresh trade from the long side because the risk is so high. Now, having said that, it's at 708, up 10%, and now it looks like it's going to be halted. So what a rebound from a bounce off the 200 moving average, now back at the highs. Again, to manage risk on a trade like this, I don't really know. I think there's 2 ways that I would consider trading this. You've got the pre-market high or after hours high yesterday, Friday, of 720. So generally, I would probably say coming out of the halt, I would look for an opportunity. Generally, that's what I would look at. Now, in this case, we went from 6 all the way up to 708, so it's gone up so high. But let's say it resumes at 750. I'd let it dip down for a second, and then as it surges up and breaks through 750 right here, that's where I would be adding. So I'd probably prep an order here at 750, and let's just say maybe like 1,500 shares or something like that. If it opened lower, halted at 708, if it opens at 690, that by itself is a sign of weakness. I probably wouldn't, in this case, add over 708. I would let this flag out a little bit, do a clean 1 minute pullback, and then perhaps look for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. I trade these a little bit different at this time of day as well because we're a little further away from the open. In the first 30 minutes, the first hour, this is where I typically expect to see the most volatility and the biggest resolution on solid bull flags and flat top breakouts. This time of day, you can see more false breakouts. So I do have to be a little bit more careful. Take just a glance at BLRX and see, no sympathy there. Sometimes when one bounces, another one will, but no, that's not the case. So ELTK, so why don't we watch this coming out of the halt? So let's see, the high was 708. All right, so look at our daily chart. So daily levels, just want to break these down. The low here was 715. That was on May 31st. So 715 is a little bit of a daily resistance point, and then it's got room up to 1112. So a lot of room there. The halt time was at 10:37 and 56 seconds. So resumption should be 10:42 and 56 seconds. And I expect it would probably be a 5 minute long halt, but it could be 10 minutes. But I would probably expect this one to be a 5 minute long halt. 10-minute long halts usually open a lot higher. And although this had a good amount of volume in these last 2 minutes coming up here, it kind of was declining going into the halt. So usually if it's increasing going into the halt, you might see a 10-minute long halt and you might see it open significantly higher. But in this case, I'm not sure that is going to happen. So we'll watch the 10-second chart on resumption. The 5-minute chart, the daily chart's not super relevant. I'm not going to look at that too closely. And we'll see what this does. So we're about a minute away from resumption or so. So you can see the H, that it's been halted. Those of you guys not familiar with circuit breaker halts, We talk about this extensively as part of the Warrior Starter class and the Warrior Pro classes. Again, risk on this type of stock is that this thing was just at 560. So it bounced from 560 all the way back up to 708. And in this one candle, it squeezed almost $1 per share. When you start getting into the $6, $7, $8, $10 price range, 10% circuit breaker halts, a halt every 10%, is 70 cents in less than 5 minutes. So, you start to be bigger moves to buy into halts. The risk is, for that reason, going to be higher. This is on short sale restriction. You can see right here. So it means you can only short on an uptick. So you may see people sitting on the ask as a short seller. My strategy on this, if I consider a trade, would be a smaller share size, because I'm not going to take 12,000 shares of this after I've already locked up a pretty good day of profit. I would consider, maybe a lower risk trade with 1,500 shares or doubling to 3,000. Resumption should be any second here. So I've got my order at 750. So we opened low, all right? See, when you open low like that, that's not good. You don't like to see that. So we opened at 660. So now this 5-minute chart's all kind of messed up. Now, this could form, and you can see here over 708, it's kind of like a pullback, but it's an instant sign of weakness when it opens lower. And so right now, through this period of consolidation, this 5-minute candle still has 90 seconds left on it up until 9:45 or 10:45. So the high of this current 5-minute candle is 695. So I've now put my order down at 7 for a possible break of 695. The high of this level right here is 95. That's where I would consider. So that's the place where, I could have punched the order. Kind of got a quick break, but I don't feel the risk reward is quite there. I think for me, if this had closed, the high of this 5-minute candle had closed at 695, then the first 5-minute candle to make a new high, I'd be okay with trading. So now the high of this candle is 708. So we've got a double top at 708. So I can move my order up to 710. So I'm ready to go for a break of 708. The low of this pullback was 660. So we do not want to see it break that level. That would be a real sign of weakness. This 5-minute candle still has 20 seconds left on it, but now it's looking like a shooting star. So, this is looking worse and worse. And this is what sometimes happens. That when you see these kind of breakouts at sort of the end of the morning trading session, that they don't end up holding as well. So, that was an interesting one to watch. Possibility that might have grabbed an extra couple $100 of profit, but didn't give me the entry indicator to pull the trigger. So no trades. All right, so that's it for me. I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. Hopefully we see some good opportunities, and we can have another green day. Right now, technically, is the 13th consecutive day of hot morning momentum. I do have one red day in there from giving back profit in the afternoon. So this is my 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is my 10th consecutive green day. So I'll write that down. 10th green day. All right, that's it for me. I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. If you're still watching, you must have really enjoyed that video. So why not subscribe and get email alerts anytime I upload new content? Remember, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Warrior Trading family.